Okay then, so here we go with part 2 of repairing, well not repairing but keeping away and stopping an issue from occurring with the upgraded jack shaft. As you can see, the hole there. Now ensure, unlike me, that you keep it only 2mm-ish from that front edge. That'll stop you when you drill in taking out the very edge. I mean, for the purpose of the shaft spinning rotationally like that, what I've done should be okay, but I would definitely recommend that you don't do it like that and you give it that extra few mil to stop that from happening. Yeah, my mistake there. Should have took me time instead of diving in, but as long as you learn from my mistakes, that's better than everybody making it like a lot of people do. So these are the stock bearings that come in it. My bearing shop likes to supply these natchy ones, and you just pull off the seals and it reveals the unsealed bearing, because obviously you're going to press the grease in with that. Now, don't put any extra grease on these bearings because you want the jack shaft to be clean and immaculate, because you're going to lock tight all these high tensile bolts in. Now, they don't have the exact size you need, so I am going to have to take a little bit off the end of these because I want it to be a perfect fit. I don't want these bottoming out on the actual bearing wall itself. So you need to make sure you get them the exact right size. So I'm going to be nibbling these down a little bit on the grinder. So yeah, so when you've done that, you'll strip it all apart, clean it all. I like to use brake cleaner because it dries up nicer. Give it all a degrease first, so you get all the old bearing grease out of it. Clean it all up. This squirts in there and gets all of the shavings out from the threads that you put in there when you're tapping it in. And then I'm going to take it all apart and I'm going to put Loctite on all the surfaces, on the mating surfaces, because you want this to be as snug as possible. And then you're going to mark where you take these off, because the holes won't be perfect if you haven't done it on the machine. So mark where they come off, so you put it on exactly in the same place and all the holes align. Yep, Loctite everything, squeeze it back into place. Once you've trimmed all your bolts down, you Loctite them, put all them in, and that's it. So put your bearings in dry, don't grease anything else up, because you want it all to stay nice and dry so the Loctite does its job. Then afterwards, once the Loctite has cured, then you can grease up the whole jack shaft. Now, this is the shaft that comes with them, and it comes with all of them. Standard ones and this aftermarket one, it's all the similar design. Now, there is a little bit of play in this inside, and there is more on the stock one. So my plan is to drill out these evenly so it's still balanced, and then that, when you grease up this nipple, will also let the grease flow into every little part that is possible, and when it spins it will get into where the through bolt goes in, and also keep that, because I've stripped a lot now and I see that when water gets in there, there's nothing to keep it lubed up and they go all rusty. So drilling out this is also going to help deal with that rusty spindle problem in there. I'll show you on the next video how I tackled that. Okay, so next step is the shaft. As I was saying previously, I was going to drill this out so it'll let grease travel through onto the through bolt, the spindle, because they always get rusty inside here and on the spindle. Now, if grease can be forced in through there, and it will get onto the spindle and then out through towards the ends, that's also going to help stop getting any water ingress in the rear end where the bearings are of the wheel, of the jack shaft itself. So yeah, it's all here to help. So I pre-drilled all the holes first, and then went through with a larger diameter, probably around about 6 mil, and then you need to clean off the edge with either a larger drill bit will do, or you can actually use a burr cleaner upper piece. And then I get a little drill bit at the end, and I just go in and twist it around, ensure that there's nothing in there. Then you're going to get a round file. You need a round file for this. Ensure that there is no burrs at all inside this shaft itself. And also on the rounds, just smooth it all off. You want it to be as smooth as possible, so there's nothing stopping it, but as it spins, should hit some grease and just help trap it in there and just keep everything lubed up that little bit more. Yeah, I'll do an assembly in a minute. Okay, so you've pressed in your first bearing inside there, and you put on your end cap and just lock it in with one of your lock bolts that you've got there. Obviously that there is the height. You're going to have to trim off each of them to make them fit perfectly, but you'll do that at the end once you've assembled this. Don't forget to drop in your new sleeve. That's going to let the grease flow. Drop that in, and then press in your new bearings, ensuring there's nothing inside of that bearing and it's nice and clean, so keep these clean. They're going pretty easily, the tolerance wise. I can just tap these in with a nylon hammer. You want to see my ugly grid? Go bang. So there it is, there's that one in. Now you mark these obviously because you want to put them back exactly the same way. Yep, there it is. Give that a little tap in. Nice on there now. Stick in a little screw. To ensure that's in the right spot. That's it. Good. Now you've got your seals and whatnot. Ensure that your seals are gleaming and everything else is clean, because you don't want that being the downfall and getting anything in the greased areas. A little loose in there. I prefer a little bit of a bath tolerance, but you're right. on nice and snug. That's it. Now that is ready. Sorry about that, obviously I'm not the best video editor on the planet. So yeah, clean off your bolts. For now I'm not going to Loctite these in because, well, I don't know if it's going to work, so I'm just going to hope for the best. I'll just nip it up nicely with my little technique of making up bolts over absolute years to know what torque to give each different type of metal. But yeah, that's it. Once that's all screwed in and it's back together, we're then going to trim down each of all of these little nuts. I was going to put Loctite in here, but decided against it in case I need to take it out again. So we're going to hope that these are going to be enough. So then we have the jack shaft now reassembled. I've drilled and tapped and put in locking screws, well bolts, sorry, all the way through as described. Yeah, Loctite that in so that it goes off in there. I didn't put Loctite on the faces just in case I have to strip it apart. I didn't want it to be too much of a hassle. But that's it now. It's pretty beefed up. Yeah, let's see if it actually takes grease. Taking it in there. So it's definitely taking in some grease there. Let's give it a clean up. And for sure, you can see some grease that came through the little gaps in there. So yeah, once it's all fitted up, we'll be able to pump that full. Let's give it a little whirl again. Cool that. It's definitely working as it was meant to, and pumping out grease through the centre shaft now as well. Once it's all fitted up, you'll be able to jam it on, give it some proper pressure and get it filled right up. So yeah, job done. Hopefully that solves the problems for anyone who's bought this V1 version and they don't want to wait to get messed around for it to break. Cheers, big years. There it is now, fully assembled. Figured it might have been a bit of a sign for me to go back to chain. I went away from chain because with the torque. I was putting out 18 kilowatts. I was stretching them way too often. But I think now that I'm planning on even higher power, chain's the only option I'll just have to deal with. Changing the chains out and buying full lengths. And just doing them periodically. But that's it. It's now a weapon of a jack shaft, fully modified and fully beefed up, ready to roll.